Good morning, everybody. It's Coach Alicia here coming at you for your Thursday coaching session. First off, happy Thanksgiving for all of you who are out there celebrating. I hope that you are enjoying the day. You're not stressing about calories or movement or anything else. It's just enjoying the time being with friends and family and those that you love. So today I'm going to be doing our live coaching on carb cycling. But before we get started, as always, if this is your first session or you're brand new to the community, welcome. And we're very excited to have you here. If you're wondering where to start, head over to the Start Here space. It walks you through how momentum mastery works, how to navigate the platform, what to expect, all of those good things. We do have an option if you would rather kind of go more at a self-paced kind of guide for this. You can check out the welcome checklist, which will help you not feel quite overwhelmed and just be able to, again, go at your own pace. We also have a new section called the All Guides section, where you can find every quick start guide in one place. For the newbies, I would recommend starting with the Carb Cycling Quick Start Guide. If you actually would just kind of pull it up on your device while you're listening to this live coaching, it would be super beneficial for you. That can be found in the nutrition section, and it's a very simple breakdown of how to use carbs strategically for energy and for fat loss. Don't forget, we have live workouts and coaching Monday through Friday of all different levels, varieties, types, you name it, we got it. Plus live coaching sessions where we really try to help educate all of our members on all things longevity, hormones, menopause, nutrition, exercise, et cetera, et cetera. And lastly, perhaps our favorite thing is our weekly Q&A space. The admins open a thread every Monday, and it allows you a chance to sort of ask any questions that you may have about anything and everything. No question is too big or too small. And chances are, if you have a question about it, somebody else also has a question about it. So be sure to jump into the chat or the Q&A space to celebrate wins, connect, and stay motivated. We're really glad you're here. This group is growing tremendously and is becoming such a large, huge value to everybody that is in it. So, like I said, I will be doing a um, a live coaching specifically on what the heck is the difference between high carb, moderate, and low carb days, and how can you actually do this type of eating style, we'll call it, without being super stressed out or feeling like you need to do a whole bunch of math or just kind of go crazy with things. This is going to make everything feel way clearer for you and just way more I guess like accessible for you is what we'll call it. So what we'll quickly start off with is talking about what carb cycling is and why does it matter. So carb cycling is simply rotating your carb intake throughout the week. High carb days, moderate carb days, and low carb days. Now, the whole point of this is that it's meant to help you build lean muscle, support your hormones, keep cravings under control, improve metabolism, and lose fat without feeling deprived. As you all know, women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s and beyond often feel like their metabolism kind of starts to slow down almost overnight. Carb cycling can really help work with your hormonal changes instead of against them. So let's talk about why it matters first in pre, peri, and post menopause. Here's what's happening during the kind of the different menopause stages. A lot of you are in kind of the post-menopause stage right now, but we do have a large amount that are kind of in pre-menopause, as we'll call it. So this is typically like your 30s to your 40s. Estrogen and progesterone are fluctuating, but they're still very present. High carb days can help boost performance and muscular strength, while moderate and low carb days can really help stabilize blood sugar and help with cravings. So, kind of a real life example, if you feel like some days you're super hungry and some days you're just not at all, typically that's hormonal related. Carb cycling works perfectly here. Now, those of you ladies who are in perimenopause, kind of the 40 to the 50 age group, estrogen swings up and down like a roller coaster. One day it's high, one day it's low. The morning it's high, the evening it's low. It's all over the place. One of the biggest things with this is that the insulin sensitivity in your body changes, which relates to more carb storage. This is where you start to feel kind of that more inflammation, more bloating, more kind of like the belly fat, things like that. You just start to feel kind of like puffy, I guess we'll say. Carb cycling can help here because the low carb days help reduce inflammation and bloating. The moderate carb days can help support stable energy, which is really important. And the high carb days can really help protect muscle, which, as we know, will help protect your metabolism. Now, for those of you who are in post-menopause, which I know is a great majority of you, estrogen is very low, but it's also stable. This is also the time when muscle loss tends to accelerate just because we're moving less. We don't have the hormones in our body to really help us kind of build that lean muscle tissue. And we start to, kind of just change our workouts and everything as well, too, to not really help with muscle gain. Your insulin sensitivity decreases and it becomes a little bit harder to recover from workouts. So, carb cycling here matters because your high carb days can help support muscle repair. Your moderate carb days help keep energy steady, and those low carb days can help with fat loss. It's a perfect balance all throughout this phase of your life. Now, I've kind of thrown out the terms kind of low, high, moderate carb, and you're probably thinking like, well, that sounds great, Alicia, but like I don't really understand that. I know I have this meal plan in front of me and it's carb cycling. I've heard everybody talk about it. I've heard Vince talk about it, and that's really kind of what brought me here. But like, can you just explain what this is? I got you. So, I'll start with your high carb days. These are your muscle building, metabolism supporting days. That's what I want you to remember. Those high carb days are muscle building, metabolism supporting. Typically, you can pair them with like a heavier strength training day, a leg day, a full body strength, or if you're doing some like hit or intense workouts. The best thing about this is that immediately you're going to feel more energy. Your body is utilizing the extra carbohydrates in the form of glucose, which is helping you feel more energized. The other side of that is that you may feel a little bit fuller. Typically, these are days where you're just the volume of food that you're eating might be a little bit higher just because the types of food we're eating are just larger, I guess we'll say to begin. But you're going to feel really strong in your workouts again because you're giving your body that glucose and that energy that it needs to be able to go through your whole entire workout and also recover from it. Now, super easy example of a high carb day. For breakfast, have some sourdough, some eggs, and some fruit. You've got your carbs, you've got some fiber, and you've got some protein. For lunch, chicken and rice and veggies. Super easy. A really great snack would be some Greek yogurt and berries, maybe toss a little granola or honey on it. And dinner would be like salmon, potatoes, and veggies. Now, this is not a cheat day. A lot of people think, oh, it's my high carb day, it's a cheat day. Absolutely not. It's a very structured fueling day. That's what I want you to remember. It's a structured fueling day. Now, one of the things you want to remember with this, and we'll kind of get into this later on as well, is you can't do a high carb plus high fat plus high protein at the same time, because then we're just overeating. So you're going to notice as we get through all of these kind of descriptions, is that your protein is going to stay pretty much the same all throughout the week, no matter what day it's on. We never have to change that between like a rest day or a workout day. But when we have a high carb day, it's going to be paired with low fat. Um, and this is because fat slows down the digestion of carbohydrates, and we don't want that in these high carb days. We want to get that food in, use it for energy right away, and then move on to the next day. For your moderate carb days, these are kind of like your normal everyday days. You're not pushing super hard, you're still active. It's more of kind of just like a very balanced approach. Typically, when clients move from carb cycling to a more balanced approach, it's essentially a moderate carb day. These are really best paired with really moderate workouts, kind of busy lifestyle days, light lifting. Maybe you're doing some yoga, maybe you're doing some water aerobics, maybe it's like a cardio day. Super easy. Some really great examples of moderate carb day meals could be like some oatmeal and protein. Lunch could be like a Mediterranean bowl. So lots of fresh veggies with maybe some like chickpeas and avocado and lean protein. A snack is a really good protein shake and banana. Super simple. Shake, peel, eat, go. And dinner could be like chicken thighs, quinoa, greens. Maybe you add in, some type of like, primal kitchen style dressing for a little bit of extra fat. So this is kind of like your day is typically about 33% protein, 33% fat, 33% carbs. It's very, very, very balanced throughout the whole day. Now, your low carb days are what I kind of like to call your inflammation reduction or fat burning days. These are paired with rest days, mobility days, light walking, high stress days, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, you want to do a low carb day on a day if you think it's going to be a high stress day because it helps reduce cravings and keeps your blood sugar stable. One of the biggest reasons for overeating is because we either fast during a high stress day or we eat a ton of carbs during a very high stress day, which then just leads us to want to eat more of those. So low carb days are going to be paired with very obviously very low carbs, moderate protein, just the same as before, and then very high fat. So these are days that are going to be really great. Lots of fruits, lots of veggies, lots of like salads and bowls, and fattier fattier pieces of meat. This is a great day to have like steak and salad for dinner. It's a great day to have like that eggs and bacon and avocado and berries on the side. Lunch would be like, a chicken salad bowl with lots of, some sunflower seeds, maybe some feta cheese or some goat cheese or, candied walnuts, like very fatty foods. Now, remember, because I know a lot of us grew up through the era of fat is the enemy. Fat is very good for you and it serves a very strong purpose for you, especially on the low carb days. Having higher fat regulates those insulin levels a little bit more and is going to help you feel fuller for longer. The reason why a lot of people will fail on like a low carb diet or like a keto diet is because they do not add the additional fat in it. So they're just hungry all the time. Protein will keep you full and satiated. So satiated, if you don't know what that means, just means that you feel fuller for longer. It's going to keep you very satiated. But if we're just eating a lot of really high carb foods all the time, it's going to disrupt our insulin levels, and then that's going to make us crave things more. And if we're doing low carb, but we're not pairing it with anything as an energy source, that's an also really great way to kind of break down and be able to, um, just want to grab whatever near you, really. So I briefly described how that is. And again, any of you that kind of needs like a cheat sheet, we do have one in the guide section, or I can provide one for you. That's totally fine. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how does this carb cycling really help with my hormones? And let me tell you the biggest thing that I see, and this is from working with hundreds of clients through VShred, and the majority of my clientele is this kind of pre-menopause to post-menopause demographic group, is that it really helps with blood sugar control. One of the most frustrating parts of going through menopause is that you're just become so much more insulin sensitive. So really frustrating. It's like you eat, one carb and you feel like you gain a bunch of weight and you feel like your mood is all over the place and you have these weird cravings and it's wild. So carb cycling can really help with your blood sugar control. Stable moods, less irritability, fewer cravings. Those fewer cravings lead to fewer bad choices, which lead to fewer kind of mishaps within your diet, which then also would in turn make you feel just like better because you're not like cheating all the time, we'll say. This also helps with stress hormone regulation. So we know that cortisol is like the devil for us. We know it's there because it has to be there type thing. But if cortisol is high, you're going to really store your fat in your belly and your hips area. Carb cycling can help break that cortisol cycle because it gives you the nutritional support that your body is asking for. Now, a lot of you also come to Visha because you have a lot of thyroid issues, especially for females. Thyroid issues tend to show up later on in life. And once it's paired with kind of menopause as well, it's like the perfect storm for your body to just like not do anything that you want. Your thyroid loves glucose, loves it, loves it, loves it so much. So the high carb days are really going to help support thyroid hormone building up, I guess we'll say, and kind of give it the hormone help that it needs. And then lastly, one of the big things is muscle protection, really. As estrogen declines, muscle naturally decreases. The more muscle we have, the better our metabolism. The better our metabolism, the better our like fat burning system we have created. Also, the more muscle we have, the healthier we are, the better our hormones are, the more independent we can be, and just the more energized we feel as well. So those high carb days can really help protect lean muscle mass quite a bit. So let me give you some like real life examples right now. And some of you may sort of like reflect with a few of these. Um, these are obviously I've changed their names, but these are very relatable to like everybody. And these are all clients that I've worked with. So let's take Terry. She's 52, post-menopausal, really struggling with body fat. Never had this just like this gut that she feels like she has to. So when she started to add into high carb days on her like heavier lifting days, her energy improved, her cravings dropped, and she finally broke through her plateau. Once you can get control of those cravings and that insulin sensitivity, your body is just going to go into a whole new phase. A next one, when we start, kind of getting a little bit lower is, clients I have in like their early 40s. They're early in perimenopause. They're just starting to go through it. The biggest complaint that, this client felt is that she felt bloated just all the time. She felt like her face was puffy, her hands are puffy, her belly is just puffy. She like looks down at her feet feel fluffy. She just feels very inflamed all the time. So we added into low carb days during her really high stress work days, and her bloating dropped down, her cravings got under control, and she just felt more energized from it. One of the other really great side effects of low carb days, when it's properly paired with high fat, is that the brain fog tends to go away as well too. I forgot to mention that earlier. Brain fog is a very high complaint of women in menopause. And the low carb days just help you feel a little bit sharper because the fat is like fueling your brain as well too. Um, and then this last one example that I put on here is probably like what is the most relatable. So you have a client, we'll say her name's Kelly, she's 48, she's doing V-Shred workouts, or she's like going to Orange Theory, she's doing all of these classes, but she just kept overeating on low carb days at night. A lot of you probably experienced this, and I do know a lot of my clients experience this when they first start because they're afraid of increasing their fat intake. So if you're overeating on these low carb days, especially at night, like you're just like, oh my God, I'm just like crazy. I feel like, I'm like a drug addict. I just like need to eat something. You got to increase your fat. So once we bumped up this client's fats slightly higher and gave her a more moderate dinner that's filled with more fat, her cravings were gone, absolutely gone. And that's because we are giving our body, again, the nutrients that it's asking for. So you you hear all of this and you're probably like, oh my goodness, this just sounds like a lot of work, Alicia. How do I do this? Number one, if you're working one-on-one with a coach, they figure that out for you already. Just follow through that meal plan. We've already structured it to be in a carb cycling kind of structure for you. So you just follow what's on there and you're going to be in there. Also, remember too, we don't chase perfection here at all. That is not what we are about. We are about longevity and consistency. You're not going to ruin anything if you're mixing up your carb days. With that being said, if you're just doing all high carb days in a row, maybe that's not going to be carb cycling. But if something happens and your low carb day turns into a moderate carb day, or you forget some food and like your high carb day turns into a low carb day, like that's okay. We're still kind of giving it the varied structure all throughout the week. So typically what we do is, day one, if you look at your calendar, and this could be like a Sunday through Saturday, or it could be like a Monday through Sunday, however it is that you like to set it up is totally fine. Your days, so if you're looking at the calendar and it's days 1 through 7, days 1, 4, and 7 are typically going to be your low carb days. Days 2 and 5 will be your moderate carb days, and then days 3 and 6 will be your high carb days. Now, there is a lot of variance in there as well too. If you want to shift things because you're like, look, Saturday or Fridays and Saturdays are just like lots of running around and everything. It would just be easier to have higher carb on those days. That's fine. Shift things down, make a moderate carb day on Friday, high carb day on Sunday. That's fine. You could also double days up in a row. So you could do 2 low-carb days in a row, 2 moderate, 2 high, et cetera, et cetera. That way you could sort of get 2 high-carb days on the weekends if you like. And instead of like really obsessing about like recipes and perfection again, think really about protein, veggies, carb. It becomes very simple like that. You don't need to overthink like, oh, I need to make sure that this is like, 20% or less of carbs or whatever. Like just think like, do I have protein on my plate? Today's a high carb day. So I need protein, I need some type of fiber, some fruit, berries, vegetables, whatever. And then I need like a higher starchier carb. So do I have like a rice, potato, a pasta, a bread, a quinoa, you know, barley, whatever like that. If it's a low carb day, you're like, all right, it's low carb. I need to make sure I have my protein on my plate as well. I need some type of higher fat. So maybe I'm going to do like some hummus, some avocados, some nuts, some, whatever. That protein I'm going to make, fattier. Again, salmon, steak, chicken thighs, like really nice, like fattier slices of meat are really easy for this time because it gives you that fat automatically. And then I just want some veggies on the side. So maybe it's like, some asparagus, or so maybe I'm doing like steak and asparagus, steak and mixed vegetables, steak and a salad, something like that. Don't overthink it. Just kind of break it down kind of in very simplistic things. So if you're eating out, because I know that we're in the holiday season, so either we're eating out at friends' houses, maybe we have parties to go to, maybe it's restaurants, whatever. When you're eating out, again, focus on protein, veggies or salad, and then choose your carb depending on the day. If it's a high carb day, rice, potatoes, pasta, super easy. If it's a moderate carb day, um, just have half a portion of it. And if it's a low carb day, ask to swap your carbs for more veggies. No potatoes, please. May I have some, steamed vegetables on the side. Always ask for like no sauce or sauce on the side because restaurant sauces are like really, really hitting calories, either high carbs or very, very high fat. If you're traveling, pack protein bars, beef jerky, nuts, fruits, like instant oatmeal or microwavable rice, some electrolytes, things like that. I love to bring packets of pre-made oatmeal with me, and if I'm traveling, I stop at like, a Wawa or Sheetz or some other gas station, and I just grab like a cup full. I just pour some hot water in, pour some oats in, mix some protein powder with it, eat it up real quick, good to go. There's my protein and my carbs. We're done. Um, a really big tip for social events is eat half your carbs before you go. I think that this is a newer tip that I've been giving clients lately, and that's because we're just going to regulate those glucose levels a little bit before we go. We're going to already go in a little bit fuller. And then the rest of your carbs can be saved for dinner if you want to like indulge a little bit or in like a dessert or something like that. It's that same thing. If you starve yourself all day, you're definitely going to end up overeating. But if you just regulate those blood sugar levels all throughout the day before you go somewhere, you're going to make smarter choices. So I'm going to briefly talk about just some common problems that we see with, or issues that people run into. Um, so one, if you overeat on a low carb day, that tends to be the biggest issue that I see with people. Then tomorrow becomes a moderate or a high carb day. That's fine. No guilt, whatever. We don't look for perfection. We look for consistency. The next one is that these high carb days tend to make people feel bloated. So try switching to more whole foods only carbs. So think of like rice, fruit, potatoes, things like that. Instead of using your high carb day as like a day to get, a fancy Starbucks drink or eat ice cream or, a bunch of like candy and stuff, try focusing more on whole foods carbs that have a less inflammatory response. The other one that kind of, you know, matches along with this is like, what if I'm really tired on my low carb days? Add an extra serving of protein or fat. Super easy way to do that is just increase your protein intake during a meal, 1 or 2 ounces. If you're supposed to have 3 ounces of chicken, just have 4 or 5 ounces instead. You're not going to get fat from eating too much protein, I promise you. Or just like have your snacks be very fat centric. So celery and some peanut butter, veggies and hummus, veggies and dressing. A cheese stick, some beef, maybe like a cheese stick with beef jerky. I love on low carb days just kind of taking, um, I like those, like the egg white wraps you can buy at the grocery store. That's just like a kind of like a tortilla, but it's just made of egg whites. I throw in like some, deli meat or something, roll it up, eat it up. That's a perfect low carb snack. High protein, high fat, no carbs for you. And then the big one, frustration that I see, and I try to remind people of this very much, is what if my weight fluctuates? It should. It very much should. Your high carb days, the next day, you're going to see a slight gain because of just the increased glycogen. Your body hangs on to a certain amount of extra ounces of water per gram of carbohydrates that you have. So, yes, your weight will go up after a high carb day, but it's just from water retention. This is why I suggest to clients don't weigh yourself the day after a high carb day. Weigh yourself after a low or moderate carb day because that's when the drop happens, that's when the inflammation goes away, and that's when we're going to start seeing more of our true weight loss there. It's totally normal, 100% normal. This is why we track metrics throughout the week instead of just one point in time during the week. So, as I close up, carb cycling is really all about balance, flexibility, and supporting your hormones. It's not restriction. It gives you actually a lot of freedom to enjoy the things that you'd like. And when you think more from like an anthropological standpoint or kind of just like how we would have evolved as humans anyways, we would never have ate, the same amount of carbs, fats, and proteins each day. That's very unrealistic because we didn't have the modern conveniences of scales foods and just plethora of food that we have now. So we probably typically ate more of like a low carb or high carb day. You you know back in the day, like there was a good hunt, so you're able to have some venison or something like that, and then somebody found lots of fruit, so you're able to get a lot of carbohydrates another day. Your body is going to respond beautifully to this. As long as you remember, you don't have to be perfect and you don't have to count every single gram and super obsess about things as well. You just got to learn the rhythm of thing and how your body responds. If you're struggling with energy cravings or plateaus, carb cycling might be the missing piece for you. It's definitely worth the try. I think it's something that is wonderful to cycle in all throughout the year. Do it for about 3 months, go back to a moderate carb, do it for 3 months, go back to a moderate carb from there, and just kind of see how your body responds to it. So if you have questions, please drop them in this post below. Tell me what you're excited to try or questions that you may have or stressors that you may have, and I'll make sure that I will get back to each and every single one of you. If you have any questions on how to sort of navigate this, or you feel like you might need a little bit more one-on-one guidance with this, feel free to schedule your one-on-one coaching consultation call, and we will be able to help you right with that. Until next time, have a great day and happy Thanksgiving.